and buying time, killing people next in line. Lower class and social slime, they don't matter. Genocide, sick from water, sick from air. Making money, they don't care. Caesar shit, force of air. Fuck them back, it's only for they bomb. They shoot, they kill, they massacre, rape. They burn the kids. No one makes countries lie to your face, fight and die. Cause God will give. Selling lies and buying time, killing people next in line. Lower class and social side, they don't matter. Genocide, sick from water, sick from air. Making money, they don't care. See the shit, force of bear. Fuck them back, that's only fair. They bomb, they shoot, they kill, they massacre, rape. They burn the kids. No one makes countries lie to your face, fight and die. Cause God forgives. Yeah. Coming back around again.
Okay, welcome to the show. I'm your host, Ron Stevens. This is Rock the Boat right here on ECY.TV. The banner still says game on. It's game on, Rock the Boat. We'll get the banner up. Freaking not enough hours in the day. Anyways, I want to thank Clint Richardson for doing the show last night. I really, truly appreciate it. I watched a few of Clint's videos some time back, but never hooked up with him before. So I want to thank Duck and Shawley for hooking me up with Clint. So we got a show in, and I like his idea. You know, I really do. I like. The guy's done his research. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. And so he's putting it in book form. And he's got one book out now. And you can get your paws on it, download it for free. And, I ask you to download the book and throw a donation his way. I don't think people really appreciate how much work people are doing out here. It's brutal, man. This is super time consuming. And I didn't get a chance to ask Clint last night why he does what he does or how it even started. But he has dedicated himself to it. And you got to take your hat off because it's been a long ride, and I can see, I didn't get to bed till, my plan was to go to bed after the show last night after midnight, and I still didn't get to bed till 3 a.m., and that basically sucks, but so be it. So I really enjoyed the show last night. My wife particularly enjoyed it because I wasn't talking much. So that gave her some peace. But no, it was really, really interesting to spend some time with Clint. And so he's got one book out, and he's going to do 2 more. So hook up with it because there's a lot of people scratching around now looking for information. So Clint's book, I'm going to download his book and read it. And I think he touched on some really good points last night. Like before the show, he said he was going to, when we were first talking, he was doing his last blog post or something. And I really haven't been posting much on my blog lately. I've got over 1,000 posts on it. And but they get lost in there. It's just like a Rolodex kind of thing. You post, and the next one goes down and down and down and down. So we're at the point now where I think people are really starting to look, and it takes a long time. I mean, if you're just coming into this game looking for some reality, and you're new to this, and there's so much. I mean, it continues to this day. It's better than it was, but there is so freaking much disinformation out there. It is ridiculous. So for someone just starting out saying, I want to know this, I want to know that, I want to know some reality, they can really be manipulated. Those are sitting ducks, and they might end up in one of these so-called popular sites like Alex Jones or that, and think, oh my God, what's going on here? Well, you've been suckered, okay? Mike Adams over there at the Health Ranger, that's another player. And these are really, really popular sites, and people just starting to look around are inevitably going to run into these sites. They get a lot of traffic. And, they're good at what they do. They're extremely good at what they do. But they ain't being on the up and up with you. And you waste a lot of time. So I really think this idea that Clint has of putting it down, in a chronological order, I have no doubt after the show last night, how dedicated this gentleman is and how well researched he is. So, if you're just starting out, then I encourage you to go and download Clint's book, and if I can find where we want to send you to, we would like you to go, or I would like you to go to. These are his websites, strawmanstory.info, thecorporationnation.com, realityblogger .wordpress.com, and Corporation Nation Radio Archives.wordpress.com. So instead of having to go and listen through these archives, which is extremely time consuming, because, what I guess the book is, I'm sure that's what it's going to be, the research, because it changes as you go. Some of the stuff I posted back in 2006, 2007, I go back at it now, and I'd really have to change some of that, because what I knew then, I know a hell of a lot more now. So the idea of it being in book form, all of these years and hours of hard work to be put down in something that's 300 pages or so, will give someone new at this a very good guideline, a good guidepost, and I'm sure there's lots of links in there and that to further information, but it gives a solid overview of what you need to know, and it will really speed up your research. It will help you not get into the disinfo situation. I just see it as a time saver. So hats off to Clint for all the work he's done, and hopefully we can do another show somewhere in the future on some other subject, maybe vaccines or something. The education system's a good subject because like I tell people, you want to figure this out really quick. The first thing you have to accept in your mind is that, well, you've been lied to since the day you were born. And I see way too many people trying to juggle, hang on to this lie and say, well, that was but this couldn't have been a lie. Well, it's all been a lie. The whole damn thing's been a lie. So, you really need to just clear your head and start from that point. And I haven't read Clint's book yet. I will, but I'm sure that he cuts through it pretty quick. And again, hats off to him and his efforts. I saw something extremely disturbing last night. I don't watch TV. Haven't watched TV in years. Don't have time for it. Don't have any want for it. I don't like being lied to, right? And that's exactly what happens when you turn on the TV. The TV is there to lie to you. It's what it does. Now, I saw a thing. Let me see if I can dig it out here. Last night, that I was looking at something else, and you get these things pop up on the sidebar over on YouTube, and this really threw me. Now, I may get a little anti-Jewish here today, and with good reason. Okay, the Jews agree that they are the ones that started this multiculturalism nonsense. Okay, and that's to take the nations down. So they agree they're the ones that started this multicultural thing. And multiculturalism is to kill culture. It is a genocidal program. Okay, where in the East they just drop bombs all over everybody. And people think that's genocide. Genocide is really the destruction of a nation. And how you destroy a nation is you destroy the society of the nation. And how do you do that? Well, you take people away from what they believed or how they operated, and you interject things into it. And this one here in particular really bothered the hell out of me last night. And I saw a video last night of it, but this is on the Trans Kids Purple Rainbow Foundation, if you can believe that one. And I guess Barbara Walters, who just happens to be a Jew, is called Transgender Tween Jazz Talks Dating with Barbara Walters 2020, and this is an update of 2013. On a special edition of 2020 Saturday, 2013, Jazz is a typical 11-year-old girl, except for one thing. She's a boy. From the moment she could speak, Jazz sensed that she was trapped in the wrong body and decided to dress and live as a little girl. Her parents made the controversial decision to support her choice. ABC News started covering her story when she was just 5. Now a tween, Jazz stands at a new crossroads in her brave decision to define life on her terms. Boys and dating, medicine, and the ultimate surgery to become fully female. Jazz and her family speak candidly to Barbara Walters on a special edition of 2020 Saturday, which aired January the 19th. Now, you take a 5-year-old kid who doesn't know nothing, where the kid got the idea that she wanted to be, or he wanted to be a girl, who knows? Could have been off a cartoon. You know, I mean, you take a young child and you put them in front of them damn televisions at the earliest age, and they just stare at this thing. And it ends up in their brains. And they have nothing to balance anything with. Right? They have absolutely nothing to balance anything with. Their mind's an open book. It's a sponge, really, is what it is. A young mind is nothing more than a sponge. It sucks stuff up. So here you have a little kid at the age of 5 who decides wants to be a girl. And her parents encourage this right from the get-go. Now, Barbara Walters gets involved in this from the age of 5, and this kid is at this point 11. And the parents are supporting this, and Barbara Walters has been into this kid since the kid was 5. And is that what it said? I think that's what it said. I should check this out. I think that's what it said anyways. I can't see it here, but whatever. Barbara Walters has been at this. ABC started covering her story when she was 5. Okay, so the whole gay, bi, LGBTQ, WXYZ movement has been underway for a very, very long time. And it's all through suggestion, okay? Anybody that's watching TV is being deviated without their knowledge. They should be smarter than that. You watch the, there was a time way back when that I didn't realize at the time I was being lied to, but I enjoyed watching some of these news programs that were more geared to intellect and that, and stupid me, I was being lied to. But I remember in around the 60s, the sitcoms started popping up, and it got worse as it went. It was trying to be, a lot of the early humor was, or early sitcoms really were silly with a certain intellect attached to them. But as we went on, it really started to bother me when I was in, I think, about grade 7 or 8. And things like Hogan's Heroes started coming out, and, Welcome Back Kotter and Archie Bunker and all this. And all of a sudden, it was cool to be stupid. The stars of these shows always seemed to be stupid. And that really started to bother me, because when my friends started, this, what was his name? Whoever played, that fat guy that played in Hogan's Heroes, Schultz. And my friends were mimicking this guy, or they were mimicking John Travolta in Welcome Back, Kotter, and that. That really started to disturb me. Because why are you guys mimicking these clowns? What is that about? And it got to be the point, popular was stupid, goofy, stunned, stupid. And now we got people out wandering around across the borders chasing little digital Pokemon things. I mean, this has been a degeneration of the mind on purpose. People have no clue anymore. No clue at all. And I hate to say it, the more I look at it, the more it looks like a Jewish problem. And I mean, people will say, well, where you been? I know. But this is pathetic. And because the word suggestion, okay, and this is all what this is about. Since the kid was 5 years old, ABC and Barbara Walters have been involved with this kid. And it's all about suggestion. That's what they do. That's what they do on TV. They suggest to you. They got guys dressed up. This is how they brought the gay movement forward. Through sitcoms and movies and that. What was not normal gets normalized through suggestion. If you look up the word suggestion in etymology, you will find that it says wicked and evil. And that's what it is. It's wicked and it's evil. Now, this thing really disturbed the hell out of me, right? It really disturbed the hell out of me. I mean, I never heard of this before till this morning when I went looking for Barbara Walters and this thing, and Trans Kids Purple Rainbow Foundation. Now, if that ain't messed up, I don't know what is. But they do these things on the TV shows. Lovely Jazz, saw your original interview with Barbara Walters years ago, and felt so happy to see you again doing so well in 2013. You are a beautiful inside and out. Hope you have continued to thrive. The world is thankful for your message, your suggestion, and for parents like yours. I love Jazz. You're beautiful. Don't listen to the haters. You are my hero. Okay, this is all suggestion garbage. And it's sick. Now I don't want to say all Jews are sick, but there's a manipulation gene or something in the Jews that get off on manipulating and suggesting. The word diversity, we hear this all the time, we have to push for diversity. Well, if you look up the word diversity, it says the same thing as suggestion. It says wicked and evil. And they're tearing down your societies, and it's genocide. Now, this little girl in the video I watched last night said that she's there to tell people basically you can be whatever you want to be. Well, I hate to break it to Barbara Walters, and I hate to break it to you little Jazz, and I hate to break it to Jazz's parents. It doesn't matter what you do to this kid. The kid was born a boy. The kid is a male. Doesn't matter what you do. That kid will always be a male. Simple as that. There aren't 47 different genders. There are 2. Male and female. That's it. But in this world, this make-believe world, this fictional world that we live in, why, you can be whatever you want to be. And we'll just suggest so. And you can diversify. Now, I did read somewhere that the suicide rate of transgenders is way up there. Very high. When you take a little kid like this, now what's going to happen to this kid who's at 11? Now this kid is put out as the poster child for transgenderism, just like David Suzuki's daughter at the 92 Rio conference, standing there at the podium at the age of 12, telling the world what its problem is, coming out of the mouth of a 12-year-old, and people are just going, what a lovely speech. We have to do as the child says. Are you just all gone stupid? Not the listeners here. They're the wise people. But the general public is getting hammered with this crap constantly. Now, when I'm going through this thing, I got a thing up here that these people that are on TV are there for one purpose and one purpose only: to deceive you. That's why they're there. They wouldn't be there otherwise. It's always a deception. It's designed to deceive you, and you have been deceived. Your Creator said, let no man deceive you. But we wallow in deception. I don't know if people could even be happy anymore if they weren't being deceived. But it's deception 24/7. And all of these people smile at you on the television, and you believe them. And that's sad. So if you got a TV, chuck the damn thing. Okay, what does this say? You can donate. Let me see. Who we are. All right. Because I never heard of this purple transgender rainbow outfit before. It's amazing that this stuff is everywhere, and most people never heard of it. So, the Trans Kid Purple Rainbow Foundation mission statement and goals is committed to the premise that gender dysphoria is something a child can't control, and it's society that needs to change, not them. Okay? Changing of the society, genocide. Then that's what genocide is. So the society needs to change, not them. Families need to support their children and encourage them to allow them to grow up free of gender roles. It is committed to enhancing the future lives of trans kids by educating schools, peers, places of worship, and medical community, government bodies, and society in general in an effort to seek fair and equal treatment for all trans youth. TKPRF is committed to funding research to study the current plight and challenges of trans youth. There is an urgent need for curriculum changes in universities and medical school to meet all transgendered individuals. We're committed to supporting trans kids in their school systems so they may receive equal rights in order to ensure a safe and bully-free education. Continually uses media outlets to educate and enlighten society and to challenge injustices due to discrimination. TKPRF reaches out to the homeless youth and those who have nowhere else to. Funds for health care and scholarships can be made available to trans youth in need. TKPRF is aware that sex and gender are seen and used interchangeably in many arenas. These two concepts are very separate and need to be divided. It is time for politicians to listen and for the medical professions to speak up. It's time for the young voices of trans kids to be heard. Now, again, this is all going on behind everybody's backs, and then you have it works its way into the school system. It comes puking out the mouth of the politicians. And if you say anything negative about any of this stuff, well, then you're a human rights transgressor, I guess you are. But when you think about it, does this not go all back to anti-Semitic? Okay? That you're not allowed to say anything negative about the Jews? Now you're not allowed to say anything negative about this or that or this or that or that or this or that. Is it not all coming out of the same anti-Semitic template? Because these people always use templates. Always use templates. And what is their goal? To change society. And what do the Jews agree with? That they are the ones that cooked up the need for multiculturalism. So, is it a Jewish problem? Absolutely. You're being manipulated. You're being manipulated. So they want to build a new world, and this new world is, well, diversified, which means that it is evil and it is wicked. All you got to do is look around. All you got to do is look around. So, there was hundreds of millions of people killed during the wars, and the wars continue, and millions of people continue to be killed. But the only people that mattered that were supposedly killed, and history is starting to show rather blatantly that it never happened, but the number that you only hear is about the 6 million Jews. You don't hear about the other hundreds of millions of people. Apparently they're not important. Why? Could it be because they're not Jews? Could it be that the Jews are controlling the media, the politics, the financial industries, the medical, the education systems? I mean, Barbara Walters is a Jew after all, and she's front and center with the trans kids purple movement. Says that it's got to be into the schools. Now we have 10 transgendered washrooms. So see, by the time people really hear about this stuff, it's already all been put in place. Then the media pukes it out through suggestion, probably through their TV shows. And then next thing you know, it's coming out of the politicians' mouths, and when we can't discriminate against anybody. It's not about discrimination, okay? And I'm sure most other people don't give a sweet bajumpins if you want to be, run around and pretend you're a cat. That's your business, okay? That's your business. But don't make me walk and talk that I can't say what's on my mind. But that's what this is all about, and that goes back to the anti-Semitic game, right? You can't say anything negative about us because while we were in the camps, lots of people were in camps. Hundreds of millions of people got killed. Well, they don't matter. We do. Okay? So I wish Clint was around because he's more biblical and better studied than I am on it. But, something about, the Jews were not supposed to get their own nation until the second coming or something, but they ain't waiting. And they want their nation now. They want the world. That's exactly what they're chasing. They want the world. They want the world order and the world religion. Well, it ain't got nothing to do with the Creator. Never did. These people have an evil agenda. Now, I see on Jew News, they keep bitching about the Islamic influx. Well, where the hell do you think the Islamic influx got stewed up by? The Jews. The Jews. How do you know it's the Jews? Simple. They want to change society. They want multiculturalism. They want diversification. Who's in charge of the media? Who's in charge of the banks? Who's in charge of the friggin' wars? Who created all of these so-called refugees? Who's been banking these refugees in camps? Some of these refugees 25 years ago were born in the camps, know nothing about anything except living in the camps. And they've been filled with hatred on purpose. And the Jews and their friends set up the United Nations, and they set up the state of Israel to get what they want. Complete and total control of the planet. So we're going to have to wise up here pretty quick. You know, the Jews agreed that they were the ones that kicked up multiculturalism. They're completely involved in the entertainment business, the media business, the banking business, and they're the ones playing the suggestion game, the diversity game. You know, our prime ministers here, our politicians here are all kissing the ass of Israel. You go stateside, same thing, kissing the ass of Israel. Where'd Israel come from? Israel came out of the 2 world wars. They blew it the first time. Same game. World government, League of Nations, State of Israel. Didn't pan out. Crack up another depression, another war. Now you got the United Nations and the State of Israel. United Nations was set up to bring peace to the world. You seen any peace in the world since the end of World War II? No. Why is that? Because that's not why it was set up. That's what they told you it was set up for. But that's not what it was set up for. So these people, all these people, man, that people listen to, watch the shows. Mike Wallace, Jew. Larry King, Jew. Maury Safer, Jew. Wolf Blitzer, Jew. And it goes on and on and on. And some of these people, I don't even know. Paula Zan, I don't know who that is. She must be somebody on TV. Is not a Jew. Wonderful. So I got one that's not a Jew. Let's see what we find. Mike Wallace, Morley Safer, Larry King. I don't know who this guy is. He's a borderline Jew. No, I'm sure this one can't be a Jew. She's barely a Jew. Kathy Lee Gifford, it says. This is a site it's called Jew or Not Jew. We have, did you know Jerry Seinfeld's a Jew? Holy crap, man. No, Michael Richards can't be a Jew, no. And so out of the cast of Seinfeld, you got Jerry Seinfeld, Jew. Julie Louis-Dreyfus, it says barely a Jew. Jason Alexander, barely a Jew. These are all the main players in the show. So out of that whole cast, you only got one that's claimed not to be a Jew, and that's Michael Richards. So no, this will freak me out. So this goes on, anyways. There's just Tom Lear is a Jew. So most of these people, at least telling you your news and that, Alan Sherman, Jew. He won't. Oh, I didn't know that. Victor Borg's a Jew. Anyways, you've got a lot of Jews here. That Scarlett Johansson, I didn't know that, is a Jew. Woody Allen, we know, is a Jew. So you wonder how much, because these people are in the media. Now see, I've got Sean Penn down here as a borderline Jew. whatever a borderline Jew is. But he's definitely far left. Michael Douglas, Jew. Kirk Douglas, Jew. No, Sharon Stone can't be a Jew, not a Jew, right? And but this is kind of interesting because you have this list just goes on and on and on and on. It'll give you a good idea of who's actually in the business of suggesting things to you, and that's what they do. Okay, I don't know how this works exactly. But I'm going to stick this in the. I'm going to stick this in the chat, anyways. It's a kind of a interesting little thing if you want to. Now, see if you go under writers here. Okay, writers. I guess this is a score. I don't exactly know how this score thing works, but they have a score. And I guess the higher the score, the more Jewish you are. Well, let's see. That might not be right either, because we have Noam Chomsky here, who is a Jew, but he got a Jew score of 7. Now, this guy's been a massive manipulator in the universities for like ever. So I don't know why he gets a score of 7. Naomi Klein, who's another Jew, gets a score of 10. So I'm not exactly sure how the score system works here. But these are all people who are writers, entertainers, newscasters. These are people, Gloria Steinem, the feminism Jew, she gets a score of 12. So maybe it's because of her, what do you call it, popularity or visibility, maybe. I don't know why that is, but I'm going to put this in here anyways. So you've got all kinds of things here. You've got actors, actresses, artists, athletes, business people, comedians, directors, fictional characters. How can a fictional character be a Jew? What do we got here for... Now, Barbie's an 8. Now, you tell me Barbie's a Jew? Barbie is a Jew. Did you know that? I didn't know that. So she's got a score of 8. So that's pretty freaking spooky. Let me go back here. Where did I see that? Fictional characters. Alf is not a Jew. Okay, remember Alf? Because he's only going to score it once. So he can't be a Jew. Batwoman is a Jew. Let's see, who else we got in here that I would recognize? Betty Boop apparently is a Jew. Amazing. Yep, a score of 10. Barbie's a Jew, and Betty Boop's a Jew. Now, surely to God, Fred Flintstone cannot possibly be a Jew. He's barely a Jew, even Fred Flintstone. Okay, so we know that TV is all about suggestion. That's why it's there. You know, they make societal suggestions on TV. And they suggest in between, well, they're suggesting change of society, they're suggesting what you purchase. Okay, so it's just a great big huge advertising system. You know, Bernays knew this. Get in their heads, right? Now let's see who might not be a Jew. I'm thinking here, I got a picture of Daffy Duck here, and I'm thinking Daffy Duck. Damn it! Even Daffy Duck is a borderline Jew. Can you believe that crap? Now, Bugs Bunny, there's no frickin' way. There's no frickin' way. I'm going to click this, but is there any frickin' way that Daffy Duck is? Yeah, see, Bugs Bunny's not a Jew. Daffy Duck, on the other hand, is and Easter Bunny's not a Jew. Now, what's Santa Claus? Now, Santa Claus is the commercial enterprise. So, is Santa Claus a Jew or is Santa Claus not a Jew? I'm going to go with not a Jew. Jew score 5. So Santa Claus is not a Jew. Now, is the Grinch a Jew? We start a game show with this stupid thing. The Grinch is not a Jew. Is Ebenezer Scrooge a Jew? He's not a Jew. Is Mr. Burns a Jew? I think that's, what's that show from? I never watched that stuff. What is that? Is he from The Simpsons or something? Mr. Burns is not a Jew. John D. Rockefeller, Jew or not a Jew? Not a Jew. That's what they say. But other people who have done research on the Rockefellers, I think, say differently. Mayor Rothschild apparently is a Jew, and all of the Rothschilds would be Jews at that point. So, all of your favorite singers, Paula Abdul, I didn't know that, is a Jew. Christine Aguilera, I would say, is probably not a Jew. Let's see. The Beastie Boys are Jews. Leonard Bernstein, we knew that. Bono is a 6. I don't know if that's a borderline Jew, but he's up to his arse in the UN, which, as far as I'm concerned, is a Jew thing. He says he's not a Jew. Well, he's got his head up the Jew's ass. That's for absolutely sure. Bob Geldof is another one of these UN minions. Now, Bob's barely a Jew, and he's running around telling people that the governments have to give more money for the programs, and that would be a Jewish move. Let's see. A lot of these people, I have no clue who they are. Let's see what we got here. Holy lifting. You look in the science here, they seem to be just a hell of a long list of Jews. Now they even have Noam Chomsky here listed as a scientist. He's a linguist. But that is a very dangerous guy, that Noam Chomsky. A lot of people really seem to latch on to what he's saying, and that's pretty dangerous because he's been in the university system so freaking long, and people really seem to Well, you're in the university, right? You're in a closed system. And Michael Bloomberg's a Jew, Barbara Boxer's a Jew, and so on and so forth, and so on and so on and so forth. And let me see this. Okay, that's not who I was thinking about. And Lenin was barely a Jew. Marx was a borderline Jew. Frederick Engels is not a Jew. Kurt Eisner is a Jew. So beware of the Jews, and let's quit this. Let's just absolutely say goodbye to this idea of politically correct speech. Okay, let's just say goodbye to it, because every time you don't say something that's on your mind, because in your mind it's telling you you shouldn't say this because it's going to upset someone or someone's going to feel uncomfortable. Just remind yourself that that little thing in your brain, okay, that's telling you not to say what's on your mind is coming from the anti-Semitic template. Because all of this garbage, all of this societal changes in that are basically coming out of the Jewish camp. You can't say anything about this, you can't say anything about that, but when you look at it carefully, it all goes back to the anti-Semitic template, which makes you shut up. And you see, it's the same thing as the anti-Semitic template, because if you want to say something about something that they're involved in, what do they do with you when you say something anti-Semitic? They jump all over your ass, okay? Now, each time they bring one of their societal changes forward and you have the audacity to say what's on your mind on that particular subject, what happens? The media jumps on your ass, the churches jump on your ass, the politicians jump on your ass, and pretty soon your neighbors are jumping on your ass. That's a control grid. And that all comes from the anti-Semitic template. Why? Because it works well. It works extremely well. And so people sit in front of the TVs, and while they might think it's a little odd that a 5-year-old child has come to the conclusion that they want to be a girl and not a boy, and they might find that pretty odd, but while this stuff's being pumped in the TV shows and on the news and so on and so forth, by the time the kid is 11, which is a 6-year span of propaganda, you become normalized to the idea that this is in fact normal. And then, God forbid, anybody should say something negative about it. Even though when you first heard about this story when this particular kid, Jazz, was 5, you thought this extremely freaking odd. But after X number of years of propaganda, you have been normalized to what your mind knew is not normal. And you get so caught up in this crap because you're surrounded by the propaganda that someone says, you know, this is really dumb, stupid, strange, and really kind of a no-go here. That same person, man, woman, that was watching this when the kid was 5 going, this is nuts, is now 6 years later saying, you're not allowed to say stuff like that. Manipulation. And we've all been lied to since the day we were born, and we are continually lied to every day that we are awake and conscious. Now, I have a friend that's a Jew. Actually, I have a couple of people I have a great respect for who are Jews. And just like anywhere else, if you have an Anglican psychopath, doesn't mean all Anglicans are psychopaths. It does mean all Anglicans have been lied to since the day they were born. If you have a Catholic who's a pedophile, doesn't mean all Catholics are pedophiles. But if you're a Catholic, you can be sure of one thing: you've been lied to since the day you were born. If you're a Republican and you dislike the Democrats, both you and your Democrat that you dislike have both been lied to since the day you were born. And it goes on and on and on and on and on. And this we have to come to grips with, okay? There's a group of people who are liars and manipulators who will do anything to get what they want. And that includes killing hundreds of millions of people. This is, the LGBTQ, and then I think there's an I on there now, is all about, it's a depopulation program. None of these things can have children. None of them. Okay? So, it's the genocide of not just the society, but the European race. So they tell you that Gloria Swanson with her feminist movement, we're no longer going to be stuck in the kitchen with our aprons on and that. So they moved the mothers, they moved the women out of the houses, right? And before feminism came along, long before this feminist movement came along, my mother worked. People worked to support their families. It wasn't about a career thing. It was a necessity. Keep the family fed. And these women worked awful hard because they were looking after the house and looking after the kids and still working in that. Not that they wanted to be out there in the workforce. They would have rather been at home with the kids and teaching their kids well. But that's how you get the kids away from the family. And this is what they've done to us. And we got to change it around. So what they do, they went through, there was a whole time there it started, I guess, in the 70s and up into the 80s and 90s and that they had a real fear. It's always, they sell you on fear that, it's going to cost you. Are you sure you want to have a child? Because it's going to cost you $80 gazillion out of your pocket. Money you could have been spending going on vacations and buying a new boat or a new sports car. And instead of getting what you want, you have to spend all this money on this kid. And so is it really worth the value, the cost? Is it? And people started having less and less kids because that was a civilized thing to do. And then the next thing you hear is that we have to bring a bunch of immigrants in because you fail to have any children and the population is aging and we won't be able to pay for the pensions and there's nobody had any kids. So it was your fault when you were having kids and it was your fault when you didn't have kids, and now we got to bring all these immigrants in to fill the jobs that there's nobody here to fill. And guess what? Your society changes. Toronto, Canada. something like 128 languages spent or spoken in Toronto. I didn't know there was 128 languages on the frickin' planet. But we've got so diversified, even though the two official languages are French and English, there seemingly is 128 other languages being spoken in Toronto. This is not about integration. This is about genocide. And we need to really get that through our thick heads, and we need to stand and make our voices heard. Not next week, now. Otto put this thing in here. Well, I don't know where to get it right now. Don't have kids, just drink intoxicants as advertised by these media darlings. Exactly. Just do as you're told, right? We know we know what you need. We do your thinking for you. And so you just keep on being manipulated. You know, when you're born into your country, they say, you're born, you instantly are a citizen. Citizen is subject, subject is slave. So, you know, I'm a Canadian citizen, I'm an American citizen. I don't know where the pride comes in this, because all you're saying is you're a slave of the freaking state. You were born into slavery. And then we wave the slave flag. And we sing this, we go to the sports arenas. And we sing the slave anthem. We got to get over this somehow. We really, truly have to get over this somehow. How can you be proud to have been born into slavery? I don't know where the pride comes out of that one. You know, you don't even get a choice, apparently. You were born on these lands, which again, as Clint pointed out last night, are not have the meaning of the word. But you were born a slave. And we gave you a slave tag, which you're attached to. And it goes back to the thing with the Queen. It says, well, I mean, these are all lawyer terms, and the lawyers ought to be, as Shakespeare so adamantly put, first thing you do is kill all the lawyers. That was a wise piece of advice that people failed to take. Because it's the lawyers that write all this crap. And it's a jargon, and it is used, that language, legalese, is used to deceive you. In other words, gain an upper hand on you. So when you're born, you get your slave papers. But what kills me is it says when the Queen takes the Queen and the crown, while separate, or Elizabeth the woman, the flesh and blood woman, and the title of Queen, while separate, they're indivisible. Now, if you think about that a second, if you're separate, you're divided. If you're indivisible, you're not divided. So you can't be separate and indivisible. That's an impossibility. But this is this lawyer bull crap. And that's what they did. You were born, they wrote you a slave paper, which gets traded, has a cash value to it, or it's used for borrowing against on your future slaving. And they do the same thing with you. They say, well, you're straw man, you're fictional character, and you are separate, yet you're indivisible. Well, it makes absolutely no sense because you can't be separate and indivisible. It's an impossibility. And if you're indivisible, you can never be separate. So there's no point saying that you're separate yet indivisible. You're welded and therefore indivisible to your slave paper. And if you go back and look at the law of slaves out of Rome, you will find that very little has changed. It's been rebranded a few times, but in essence, nothing's changed. If you are a citizen, you're a slave of the state. You don't run by your God-given rights, your creator rights. You run by the rights that the state, which owns the slave paper, which is indivisible to the man or the woman. The fictional state, because it ain't real, the fictional state writes down rules, regulations, and gives you rights as a slave. And that's your life. And they can take those rights and add clauses to those things or make new rules that say that you can't, I don't know, walk down the street and send a text message. And that goes back to the Catholic Church in Rome, called the sin taxes. When they needed more income, when they needed more cash flow, they simply added a new sin. And the only way out of the sin in the Roman way of doing things is to come up with some cash. And that's why they write all these rules and regulations in the so-called government, in the legislatures, is for cash flow. You work harder, they take more. They want more, they add a new bylaw or a new rule, a statute, a regulation. And they always sell it to you as your safety. We're doing this for safety reasons. We don't want you to get run over while you're texting. Therefore, we will fine you because it's a sin that you should walk and text at the same time. And because we are looking out for your best interest, you will pay us some money for doing what we said you couldn't do. It's absolutely ludicrous. Absolutely and completely ludicrous. And here we are. And we put up with this garbage. Now, this again always seems to want to bring me back. I mean, where they want to take you is Soylent Green. They want you eating your relatives because there's, why waste the protein? Why dig a bunch of holes in the ground for no reason? We could feed a lot of people with all this protein. Maybe make it up into a nice little green biscuit. But I mean, the movie Soylent Green is the template for what they're attempting to do. You know it's a template because the foreword to the book that became Soylent Green was, the foreword was written by Paul Ehrlich. Okay, who wants you dead? Who wants depopulation? High-density cities, and all this kind of garbage. Now, okay, Christopher Robin. Oh, you there, Chris?
I'm here, my friend.
Before you start talking, I want to put this note out. A good friend of mine and a guy I argue with a lot. Again, because he's so dedicated to what he's doing. A gentleman that I know is Minister Robin out of Alberta, Edmonton, Alberta. I got a note last night that he is going to be released today from the jail up in Edmonton, sometime between 5 and 6 o'clock. So hopefully we can get him on the show. I'd be really curious to see what took place in the jail there because he's been working very, very hard to extract himself from this. Are you ready for it? System that we find ourselves entrapped by. Anyways, how you doing?
Doing.
You doing?
You're mentioning you're just talking some really harsh language about a certain group of people, but it brings me back, and I've used this a long time. When I first started out listening to radio, I had this. I photocopied it and I stuck it on my in my office, and it's that quote from Voltaire to say, like, to know who rules over you, know who you cannot criticize. To that effect, I'm paraphrasing.
No, it's exactly true.
Stole it on
exactly true.
But what wiser words? What wiser words is there than that?
But I haven't criticized anybody.
I can't say anything about a faggot. I can't say anything about a Jew. I can't say anything about anybody. I mean, we call it political correctness, of course, but I mean, if people cannot wise up to this fact and say enough's enough, we're fucked.
Well,
because we've got a community here,
now,
and I know you have a lot of other listeners that don't go on chat, but between chat and the other listeners, you've got a lot of very intelligent people. But the only problem is the majority of people that I hang out with or am around look at me like I got a hole in my head every time I mention something. Like, oh, here he goes again.
I know, that's very disheartening because then you look at these people, you go, why? Well, that goes back to George Carlin, right? Most people will remain willfully ignorant. My brother-in-law was here the other day and his wife and we're having a chat about this and that and things that mean nothing, right? Just garbage talk. And so they've been here for a little while, and so it's time. And we weren't even talking about anything difficult. It was just barely skimming the surface of anything. And he got scared and ran. Right? Well, like it's just like a child. I don't want to know. I don't want to know. I don't want to know. Right? We got to go now. We can't deal with this shit. Right? It's not shit, stupid. It's the truth. But it's that psychological thing, hanging on to the lie, right? I mean, these people know they're lied to.
Well, let's go on to that, like that Pokemon thing.
Did I tell you that Barbie's a frickin' Jew?
Yeah, I know, That's creepy. That is really creepy. I did not know that.
I didn't either. Oh, I was going to put that in the chat. That's kind of an interesting little... Where is that damn thing? Jew or no Jew? I'm going to throw that.
No, Barbie now can be black, white, or transgendered. So, are they all Jews or just the white Barbie? I'm getting confused here.
I don't know. I was just looking up this Barbara Walters crap this morning on that kid. I saw that last night, and my skin crawled. And
how ridiculous is it when people can actually sit and listen to that? Well, thankfully I'm on UCY. Listen to that cunt go on with a 5-year-old until he's 11. It totally mess his mind up. When the kid's 14, he's going to all of a sudden start to feel sexual urges, and he's going to go, "Oh, well, why do I like that girl?"
Yeah. The kid's 11 now, and this started when it was 5. And the kid is the poster child for to push this program, right? So
if I wouldn't get arrested, I'd start going out and ball batting all transgenders. I would grab a bat and I would just start balling them, all of them. Just get at any protest, any rainbow fucking protest. I'd just start swinging my bat right through them. That's what I would be doing.
Why? Why would you be doing that?
Because if they're not intelligent enough to understand what they're doing, they deserve to get ball batted.
No, they don't actually. They're the ones that were manipulated. They were the ones that were targeted. Okay? You want to go, and if you're going to ball bat somebody, you want to go ball bat somebody that got this thing going. Okay? And that's who you want to go knock the head in on. These people here, these transgendered people, most of the gay people, most of the lesbian people have been led there through suggestion. So you want to go and get a hold of the ones that started this nonsense, and they're the ones that need to get hurt, because they're
that begins with the Rockefellers in your education system. Both north and south.
It's all through suggestion, and the teachers are taught they're taught to target the kids that may be susceptible to the message. That's what they do. You know, when they put this garbage in the TV sitcoms and that, it's not there because it's funny. It's there as a suggestion. Okay, and they wear these people down who are easily influenced. Okay, maybe they're not happy. Maybe they feel picked on. This is what they do. They go after these poor kids, and basically no different than a hockey scout looking for who they can use to further their agenda. And those people are the people. Those are the people. Those are the Rothschilds. Those are the Rockefellers. Those are your stupid politicians that are all up on pride. Your police who are raising pride flags all over the place. These are the sons of bitches that need a good kick in the head, right? Because they propagandize this stuff, you know? Oh, look, now you can all be pride because the police are looking out for your ass. The media is...
Well, the only issue I make with that is self-intelligence. You know, when you got a man walking down the street, and I think Otto in the chat put a pretty funny pickup on a really scary-looking gnome guy in drag using a girl's washroom. Now, if people don't understand that that's just totally wrong and don't do something about it on that level, and if that guy himself doesn't understand what he's doing is wrong, then yeah, he deserves the ball back too, buddy.
This is where this anti-Semitic thing has been used in so many different areas, right? Okay, it is all coming off that damn template. Right? You know, you can't say anything bad about a Jew. Why? Like I said, I know a Jew who's in.
Well, you go to jail for it. Not only can you not say anything, if you say anything, you go to jail for it.
Well, that's a crock of nonsense.
Isn't that telling you something right there? What's wrong with that picture?
but
I got freedom to do what I do, and if you say anything about what I do, you go to jail, buddy.
The problem is...
Okay, now I know who rules over me.
Well, it's the same thing they did with the census. You fill this census out or you're going to jail. Excuse me, you're threatening me. I'll say whatever the hell I want when I like it, what I want to say, and if you don't like it, you're the one that can take a hike, right? Don't sit here and tell me I can't say what I think. Because what are you people doing? You're telling us that we have to accept what you think, but we're not allowed to say what we think. And that's all that anti-Semitic bullcrap. I'll guarantee it's coming right out of that same stupid room. When you got the Jew News warning us about Islam when they're the sons of bitches behind it.
Yep.
You know, how far gone is this? The nose knows. There it is right there. The nose knows. When you see, you can't not see, and when you know, you can't not know, and the nose knows. Right? The nose will always tell you what stinks.
Well, the fucking hook noses are in charge.
Well, like I said, though,
there's your
my buddy
nose.
Doug, who his grandpa was in the camps, and he joined the UN because when they moved to Canada, his family told him finally they got freedom, and then told him to learn the Constitution and the Charter. That's freedom, Dougie. And Dougie read it and figured it out and said this thing ain't worth the paper it's wrote on. And then went and joined the UN, or joined the Army. And, his nose knew even at 18 because he couldn't understand wanted to join the Army. He had to take an oath to the Queen. Why aren't I taking an oath to the Canadian people? Well, you are when you take an oath to the Queen because the Queen owns the Canadian people, you twit. Although the sergeant didn't tell him that. But he's Jewish, and he went to the because he wanted to do something good in his life, and found out real all about, which is the opposite of what they tell you it's about. And the other Jew that runs the Toronto Street News, hell of a nice guy, trying to get some truth out. Been firebombed, I think, 3 times now. And he's a good guy, and he's a Jew, and he ain't pro.
Well, Whitney Houston was a Jew.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. When she was in, I don't know if she was in Israel. Just but a week or two before she was murdered, she was meeting with a bunch of black Jews. And they have a different philosophy than your Israeli Talmudic Khazarian Jews, and the president, whatever the hell his name was at the time, not Nahu or whoever he was, went to shake her hand, and she looked down and she snubbed him. She never shook his hand. And I think it was a week later she was found dead. Yeah.
Oopsie-daisy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, we just got to, it again, Chris, is like that movie, what the hell is that thing called? Logan's Run. I mean, Logan's Run, the sexes, the fact that they decide who's having the kid, they decide how many kids there being. You got your
Clint touched on that actually.
What?
Clint touched on that. Clint did Shawley's show today. I know you woke up late, so you didn't get. Clint covered for Shawley today.
Oh, did he?
And he touched on that Logan's Run for a bit. It was pretty
Logan's
good.
Run is a classic example of the closed city, right? And it's like when I was saying about his book, this may be a big help to people who can get the book into their hands. Is that it's when in Logan's Run, there's nothing out there. You can't go out there. You'll die if you go out there, right? And this is all after they've rewilded everything, right? Moved everybody into these closed cities. And it was all about don't go out there and everything's good here. And what it took was when they came back and all of the people walked out of that closed city to realize the whole thing that they've been living is a lie and that they're completely, absolutely 100% controlled inside that city. And when you see the people come out, they look almost like zombified because they're freaked out that this even exists. And they have to almost relearn everything, right? They have to relearn how to be thinking people. And I think that's, where we got to try to get to, right? Somehow is we got to knock the wall down and open up the gates and say, there you go.
Well, it's funny just on a small level, but I believe it still makes the point. I hired a guy. Well, I ended up firing him the same day, but he showed up at my house, and he lives in the country, And he said to me, like, he showed up early, so I had to hang out with him until the other guy showed up before we go to work. And he says, "Wow," he said, "this must be hard on you, eh?" And I said, "What's that?" And he said, "You got nothing but houses around you, beside you, in front of you, behind you." And I said, "Yeah, it's a little bit better than living in an apartment." You know, but he lives in the country. So the point being is, he's like, when he comes in, he's like, "How do you live every day like this?" I live in the country. I got freedom. Like, I can breathe. You can't. You know, I can't even open my windows without somebody complaining that I'm making too much freaking noise. You know, and it's just getting tighter and tighter and tighter. And people don't realize this. They think it's normal. It's not.
It's not normal at all. It's most definitely not normal. You know, and I seen your street there, and it's a normal.
You spying on me?
No, you told me to go to, we did that, what do you call it?
Yeah. Anyways.
But I mean, where you live is a very nice, normal subdivision neighborhood.
Oh yeah, you got to keep your grass cut and your friggin' keep it green. Even though you're not supposed to use water, but you got to use enough water to keep your grass green, keep up appearances. But the neighbors complain.
It freaks me out.
Yeah. I said we should all just start fucking growing gardens in the front yard and the back. I got one in the back, but I can't grow one in the front because of a bylaw.
Well, this is the thing, right? You know, like in my town, and it's only a small town. I was overlooking at some houses that were gone up in a subdivision because I used to build houses, and they got bylaws in there now that if you have a trailer, motor home, or whatever, you can't park it in your driveway. You have to either hide it in the garage or you have to go and rent somewhere else to keep your property because you're not allowed to keep certain property on your own property.
On your own property.
Right. Well, that tells property real quick. Right. And I said, who the hell would buy a place like this? But even when I was getting out of the building of houses, it was getting to that point, right? It was already that we were being told what we could and couldn't build, where we could build it, what we couldn't build, and these certain usages and this and that. And you go, what the hell are you people talking about, right? If this man or woman's buying a piece of ground, which I thought they were actually buying at the time, which I've known since they don't, and they're building themselves a house, which I understand now it's not their house. Who are you to tell them what they can and can't do? And we are who we are because they can't do what they want to do unless they do what we tell them to do because we own the land and we own the house. Oh, did I mention we own the man or woman that actually bought the land and the house too? You know, so we got the chains on us and we got to bust them off, right?
Who's going to do that? How are we going to do it?
I booked that. I've got that young group that interviewed us over at Michael's trial there in Walkerton from Seneca and the other university. Given them your address, and they're going to be down there. I think Wednesday between 2 and 3 to film you breaking the chains and setting us all free. No pressure, but that's what you're going to do. You're going to set us all free.
There we go.
On Wednesday, and I appreciate that. And I'm sure.
Well, I've sent a couple of employees free, 3 of them in the last week.
You set them free?
I set them free.
Yeah, well, that was.
In all honesty, it's actually kind of sad because we are becoming so dumbed down that when I put an ad in for help, the responses I'm getting are saying, "Yep, I'm your guy. I'm qualified. I can bend. I can cap. I can trim. I can whatever you want me to do. I can do it." Then they get there and they watch me start, and next thing you know, they're on their friggin' phone saying, "Oh, I just got to take this call. Oh, and they stall for half the day. And then you say, okay, now it's time to get to work. There's the break. Bend me some aluminum. Tap that window for me. And they go, oh, well, I just got a call. I got to go now. I'll call you tonight. Yeah, okay. 3 times in the last week I had that happen.
I really feel
in the old days that never used to happen. You used to hire a guy, he'd show up, and he would work his butt off right beside you.
Right, and
not anymore.
It's no, I feel for you.
Robots. I'm going to hire a robot, I think.
Well,
I'm going to talk to Jules. Jules knows a lot about robots.
Does she? But you got to pay. You still got to pay the WISB on them, and
on the robot, just in case they get injured. Yeah.
Right. And you got to pay their pension plan and everything as well because they're person-footed. So but they might not talk back to you quite as much. But no, I feel for you. I really feel for you and the other employers because I started running into that after I was out of the business for a while and tried to go back in it. The difference, and it's always the incremental difference, right? This has happened in the schools. It happened through television and movies and stuff.
Well, that brings me back to what you were just starting to touch on, that Pokemon thing. My 14-year-old, he's right into it, and he says, "Oh, Dad," he says, "I'm 14 years old. I'm just having fun." But I said, "No, but it's wrong, son." I said, "You don't understand what they're teaching you by having you do this. The power of suggestion."
Exactly.
You're going to be 19 years old, and you're still going to be playing fucking Pokemon, and you're going to be in backyards chasing down whatever Pokemon of the day is, or whatever the hell that means, even.
Well, it's like last night. I mean, how pervasive is this? I mean, the guy's in the store, and I'm laughing. I'm not laughing. I'm disgusted with his Pokemon stuff. And the guy, about 40 years old, 35, 40, some must have been 40, maybe even 45, who knows? But he's got his little. He says, "Yeah, I got one. Got one what?" And he's holding his cell phone. I said, "Don't tell me you're playing Pokemon." Yeah. Why? Well, because it gets me out of the house.
Yeah, get exercise.
You need this to encourage you to leave your house. Well, yeah, because if I didn't have this, I'd be just laying on the couch watching a movie. And it tells me how far I've gone, and I keep an eye on this, So if I see a Pokemon up by the complex, I might just jump on my bike and go get it. But you didn't go get anything. It ain't real, you twit. Has anybody ever stuffed a Pokemon and had it put on his wall? No. Then it ain't real, you twit. Oh, yes, but it's really good because it gets me out of the house. I'm going, this is beyond stupid. So that kid, then there was a kid there probably, I don't know, 11 years old or whatever, getting one of these freezy drinks or whatever, you put all the colors in it. And he's standing there, and I go, "You play Pokemon too?" Yeah. You do? Yeah. Do you know how to build a campfire? No. Do you ever go fishing? No.
Do you know what it's like to cut the head off a fish to clean it?
No.
Do you know what it's like to skin a rabbit?
Yeah, they're pretty easy, actually.
No, but that's the questions I would be asking. My kids know that stuff.
Yeah.
I forced them. My dog kills the rabbits. I show the kids how to clean them. We shoot goose. I show the kids how to clean them. Survival, man.
Well,
you got to know the basics.
Well, you got to.
And it's down and dirty. One rabbit, my son thought it was disgusting at first, and then he just dove right in. But I didn't clean it till the next day. So I had to rigor mortis set in, right? So I had to stretch it out before I cleaned it.
Yeah.
And he went, "Oh, gross." And then that's what you got to do sometimes, son. And next thing you know, he had the knife in there, and he was cutting and cleaning it. But then Pokemon came along.
Yeah, along come Pokemon, right? I mean, it's beyond stupid. But anything to keep people's minds busy on things that are absolutely not important. So when you're out playing Pokemon, you have no clue what's going on around you, obviously, because people are walking into trees and stuff and getting run over. Obviously, you're so.
There was a sorry, Ron. I just interjecting for a second. There was a rumor that my older son, who worked with me full time, said he heard it himself that two kids walked off a cliff because their heads were so deep into their cell phones chasing down the Pokemon. They ended up walking off the edge of a cliff, and I said, I really. You don't want to go too far with this, but I wouldn't find it impossible for that to happen. But I don't think there was any real truth to that story.
Well, I don't know.
Okay, anyways, I just thought I'd clean that up.
Those kids from Alberta were so engrossed they didn't notice the border in Montana.
Yeah, that I know. Yeah,
but
that was on the.
I got some good news. It's international news. It just came to me now. It just come off the wire now. We've got a notice here that Pokemon is now banned at Auschwitz. I want to thank Otto for that, getting me that update. This is so retarded.
Yeah. No, it's true. Yeah, no, the war music. I think he's in the United States. They said that they don't mind playing Pokemon, but don't do it in the Jewish museum out of respect for the 6 million. So yeah, no, I believe that story.
Now we got to be careful.
You can fall off a cliff if you want. That's okay.
Well, Matty Clues says you're a good dad, Duck. Keep up the good work, but you got to be careful when you start calling him Duck because I guess Dad.
They shoot
okay,
ducks.
But Daffy Duck apparently is Jewish.
Oh yeah.
So we got to be careful what we do here, right? Now.
We got for my last studies, we got like 8% of the population of this world is white, and who is everyone beaten down?
Exactly.
Everybody has privilege, but God damn it, if you're white. But we're 8% and diminishing. Now, I have an older son that just had a second child, and he's going to have a third.
Good for him.
Thank God for him.
Yeah,
we need more like him.
I see young people on the street, and I do. If they're white, I mean, it's all in humor, but I'm serious at the same time. I've talked to mothers with their daughters, with their 17-year-old daughters and that, and I look at the mother and I say, "Is your daughter pregnant yet?" And she'll go, "Well, I don't think so." "Well, get her that way."
Can't afford it.
I say, "Get her that way," right? Or I see somebody walking down the street with a baby in a buggy. "Is that your only child?" "Yeah." "You are planning to have a horde more?" "Well, maybe." "Well, don't stand here talking to me. Get home, get at it." Right? We need white kids fast, and this is not anything to do about racism. This is about survival.
That's right. It's culture. It's who developed the North American, the United States, Canada. Who developed that?
My queen and my
friend the Vatican. I mean, seriously, knuckles, and whatever on the ground. Who developed it? It wasn't the blacks. I mean, they're still in Africa starving. No, they're not. Actually, I've got a mother just went by with 7 kids here today, or yesterday, sorry, and then I had 2 Muslims in a car practicing backing up because I had a car on the street, and they used that car for parallel parking practice, and they were both wearing the head garbs and the full dress, and I just, wow, here comes white flight in my neighborhood.
Yeah, the neighborhoods are changing fast, right? And I saw some stats on just how fast it's
I'm
changing.
going to join the KKK.
Well,
No, maybe not. Yeah, maybe that's
I
too
don't know.
extreme.
Huh? Well, it's. I don't know if it's too extreme or not, right? I still want to. I still would love to interview. I got to try and get a hold of him. I would still.
I know,
really
David.
love-
I know. I've been in contact with his people, and
I
his
would
people
really
will be
like
in
to
contact
interview-
with your people.
Yeah.
And,
Well, maybe I'll just give him a call.
Yeah.
I would really like to talk to this guy because, at the same
but
time.
you got to remember, he's a former KKK member.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I've listened to some of his videos, and these people are still talking about, being U.S. citizens and this kind of stuff. So, I kind of got to question what the message actually is.
Yeah,
Because, when you're talking about citizenship and that, like, you aren't that stupid, right? You're a highly intelligent guy, and why are you even speaking in these terms, right? Exactly. KKK is a tool for the Jew, right?
Yep.
And, it's...
the divide and conquer trick.
Yeah, and we've got to come together and just basically say enough is enough, right? Like, I mean, I don't even know.
Who says it and how do you say it, though? I guess that's the bottom line question.
Our major cities here, and I can't say for sure, but I'm sure it's pretty much the same in the United States and Australia and everywhere else, is that our main cities have been, for all intents and purposes, taken over now. They really don't exist for our own people anymore. When I lived on the West Coast, they had the huge immigration of East Indians and Chinese now, and the Muslims. And the same in Toronto. They brought people in from everywhere until they were bitching. Get this, Chris. They were bitching about the police are not diversified enough. Okay, they don't have enough minorities on the police force. And what the police said, and I mean they're all up to their ass in this anyways. But what the police said was that when we did the hiring of these guys, it was like 4% non-white or whatever immigrants, right? And now it's like our city has changed from that really low number to something like 30, 40% now immigrants.
That's crazy.
In that short period of time. And we hire these guys, they're going to be here for like 30 plus years. So you're telling us that we don't have a big enough cultural mix in the police department.
And these guys have the power when they pull you over to do whatever the hell they want to you. Like I'll give you an example on now. This is 20 years ago.
Yeah.
I had a Sikh because that's the first thing that happened in Canada, right? Is we allowed Sikhs to join the RCMP,
right?
And then the local police, and they wear their turbans and they get their sword.
That was the real.
I had an old white cop, and I actually escaped them the first round because I knew they were behind me, and I pulled in. I had a 4-wheel drive. We're on a back road, and I pulled in to a house, and they whizzed right by me. But then after I thought it was clean and good to go, I pulled out, and then I had to take let my dog out of the truck. He had to pee, and they come whipping around the corner. But it was the white cop, an old guy, that got me, and I was drinking at the time too, by the way.
Yeah, but you were.
And the point being, the one behind him was a Sikh. And the first thing the white cop said to me, he said, "You're lucky I'm the first point of contact." He said, because if it had been him, he said, you'd be in jail right now. He said, "I'm just going to charge you for open liquor in the vehicle." I went, "Well, thanks."
Yeah, but see, this is where you get the big takedown, okay? You remember the thing with the Sikh with his dagger and his turban and that's not how RCMP dress. And then you got all this propaganda going. Well, it's his religious right, and so on and so forth. Well, regardless, it is not how we dress. The other people have other religions or whatever. They dress properly. We can't interfere with this guy. So now we got guys running around with turbans, playing policemen. They didn't build this country. And then they creep their way into the bureaucracy. Well, they're not creeped in. They're scouted to get the ones they want in there. How many people? I mean, if you look through the bureaucracy in this province, even, and the number of people who can barely speak English, who came from all these different countries, you go, how the hell did you come from another country and now you're the vice chief of something in some bureaucracy? How is that even possible? Well, people don't notice that because they don't see the bureaucracy on a daily basis. Right, but the creep comes.
Political correctness.
Well, yeah, and then because of diversification, then they start to move into the politics. They move into the universities, and pretty soon, the laws being made on your land are being made by people who really got no history of being on this land, and from there. We all know that the game is on to bring these people in so they can start schmoozing us on Sharia law, and that can't happen.
Look at Sweden. That is scary, man. You talk about genocide.
Oh,
holy fuck! Come on.
That's actually where
those Nordic boys got to start standing up and being men again. They got to stop this because they're going to lose it,
What happened to the Vikings, right? I mean, what the hell's going on here? Right? You know?
That's scary. That really does trouble me. That is, but they're our brothers. They're our brothers. I don't care. They are. And if they don't start standing up, man, we're in for a world of hurt because, it's happening here, not as fast, but it's really happening fast over there.
Well, it's creep. It didn't happen fast. It happened very slowly, just as the Brazilians.
Yeah, but I mean, once they got the momentum going, now they're just going full bore.
It's that slow creep till you get to a certain point, and then the big push comes, right? Because then people have been dumbed down, and they've been turned more into children because of the state welfare system. Okay, so they really didn't have to put out too hard. Okay, they were looked after by the state. They were mummied by the state, and they've lost their ability to be a freestanding people, and we have, and so have the Americans. You know, we just keep getting pushed around, and we never push back because it's politically incorrect. And we got to throw that nonsense right square out the window.
Well, you know what's going to happen when they genocide us, eh? Everybody's going to live like fucking monkeys again in trees. And that's a fact, Jack.
Well, what we have to do, the cities are pretty much gone as far as I'm concerned. Okay, what we need to do is get back out into the countryside. We got to get control of the countryside. The cities are lost. The cities are goners, man. We got to go get what we can get back, and that's the rural areas and the biggest chunk of our countries. The cities only take up the tiniest little amount of land in our countries. I mean, they take up no space really at all. The rest of the country is wide frickin' open, and that's where we're going to have to make our stand. We got to get back out in the countryside, and we got to take it back. Just like, they rewilded everything. Everything was abandoned, which they're trying to do now, is abandon everything out in the countryside and move everybody into the city. And it's almost...
Well, I think the first thing in the States they need to do is get rid of the BLM. I mean, that's just, you're committing suicide by allowing them to even exist.
Well, that's
in the States.
They're the rewilding program, right?
Yeah. I mean, we got ours up here, but I mean, those guys down there are really causing damage too.
Like if you say
people got to start smacking them boys around with a
they're still under the police. Well, we got to go back to what our Creator expected of us, and we've really messed up. But I just see a thing in here: monkeys in the trees will fight back. One movie.
Planet of the Apes.
Well, if I even say that, it makes my wife cringe, right?
Yeah.
The whole idea of that makes you cringe. But again, see, it's all suggestion. That's what the movies are for, right? Suggestion.
Right. Planet of the Apes.
Suggestion. When they did that, I remember Merv Griffin. When they came out with that,
I liked his show. Don't cut him up, man.
Wow.
Was he a Jew?
I have no idea. I'm still getting over Barbie and Daffy Duck. Anyways, it was when I forget what the movie's called. It was about when they got the fire, when they first got the fire, right? And the Neanderthals got the fire. What the hell was the name of that movie? But they promoted the snot out of that thing, right? The scientific community, the movies, everything, right? Because this told us how we went from apes to Neanderthals, and then once we got fire, then we became men, and all of this nonsense, right? And I thought, oh man, here we go, right? What they've done, while the governments always say, we take an oath to God, we believe in God, yada, 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 but none of that can be usable. I mean, how can our preambles say the principles and supremacy of God, and then the rule of law, which is man law, which is subservient to what it says, because it's first in the principles and supremacy of God come before the rule of law, which is the man law, but they totally ignore it.
Well, come on, Ron. Get with the program.
Which
we're modernized now. Who needs that book? We're in the age of robots.
I'm going to take a robot out,
You're gonna bulb at it.
You're going to have robot wars, right? But the fact is that we got to get to the youth. Here's a weird thing, man. I looked at the local news, which is Owen Sound Paper, and here they had, and I missed it. These two guys from London, these street preachers, I guess were standing on the corner in my town, and they were preaching away and talking about how everybody's being screwed over and whatnot, and we got to get back to some real law and whatnot. And the people were calling 911 to tell the police to come and kick these guys out of town, right? Just two guys. And but what I found interesting is the Blues Fest here. The same guy filmed these guys. He filmed the Blues Fest here and a bunch of other stuff here in town. And they're all the comments in that video are just, get these creeps out of here and yada, 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 we'll do what we want. But what I found interesting is that video, which is only up for a couple of days, had like around 2,000 hits on it. And his other videos of the Blues Fest, which has got a pretty good name around here, had like 100 views or something. And his other videos were running, I think the most anything had was about 300 views. And here you have these street preachers with about 2,000 views, right? And no comments. So somebody got somebody's attention, right? And, even though this town is only 7,500 people, has, I don't know how many churches. I mean, we've got two Baptist churches, we've got Pentecostal church, a Catholic church, Anglican church, Presbyterian church, United church, and some new churches. Anyways, the point is that those very churches don't want to hear what these street guys are talking about.
Yeah.
There's
no room for adjustment.
Exactly. Exactly.
It's funny, that Blues Fest you're talking about. I got an associate that lives about 40 miles from me, is a very big supporter of Blues Fest.
Uh-huh.
And that name would be Dan Aykroyd.
Yeah, but you pissed on his fence, right?
I did. My blind uncle had to go for a pee, and I took him over. We were at a wedding right beside his property, and he said, "I got to go for a pee." And I said, "Well, come on over here," because we were all drinking. And and I said, we weren't going into the house. We were just it was an outside party. So yeah, I dragged him over, and then he peed. And then I looked up, and there was a couple cameras, and I went, "Oh, you're on CCTV."
That's too funny. That's too funny. That that's not quite piss on their graves, but it's close.
Yeah.
It's.
No, actually, to be honest with you, though, Dan Aykroyd is he's a big supporter of the hip, which I guess Gord Downey has brain cancer, and they're doing that big tour now.
Yeah.
And he's supporting them, and he supports all the blues festivals. He does a lot of, actually, believe it or not, he does locally. Dan Aykroyd does do a lot of good things. For fun.
I don't doubt that.
He doesn't really speak the real truth. He did a couple of documentaries. I don't know if people have seen them or not, with the Avro Arrow. You remember that?
Yeah.
He did that kind of stuff, but he kind of stays on the surface. He doesn't really get deep. But
it's dangerous.
To give him credit, he does go a little bit into it. He used to show up at the biker clubs that I was involved in when I was a younger lad, and he'd buy a pound of hash. He'd break it in half and give half of it back. That's the kind of guy Dan Aykroyd was, eh? Or, well, I feel still is, but yeah. Anyways, I don't know. I just got off on a tangent there. Sorry.
No big deal, right? Well, we're just about out of time here, anyways. And anyways, I haven't got the link here right now. Look up. I want everybody that's listening to look up Global Green, which is the American side of it, or Green Cross. But if you look up Global Green and find all of the Americans who are supporting Global Green, which is the American offshoot of Green Cross, which is what Gorbachev and his people started up, because Gorbachev was more strong and they're signatories to the Earth Charter and all this kind of nonsense. A lot of people don't know anything about the Green Cross or Global Green. And it just shows you how these people who are on TV smiling at you and talking about sustainability and all that, these actors and that, are actually helping the Sovietization of America through the Global Green, which is created by Gorbachev, right? And if you go back to that 1987, you got two things. Our Common Future was released, and the movie America. And in that movie, the new flag is the American flag. The Soviet flag joined together in the middle by the United Nations flag. Okay, we got problems, people. We got to get them fixed. Anyways, I hear. Oh yeah, just a minute. In 1 hour. Hang in there.
Civilizing buying time, killing people, mixing live, lower classes, social slime, they don't matter, genocide, sick from water, sick from air, making money, they don't care, censorship, force of air, fuck them back, it's only for they bomb, they shoot, they kill, they massacre,